For 4 years, Donald Trump's eldest daughter, Ivanka Trump, was by her father's side, aiding him in many aspects of his presidency. Ivanka has had to leave her position in the White House after her father lost his bid for re-election. So just what will her life be like now? Before Donald Trump was president and Ivanka Trump his advisor, both father and daughter called New York City home. Ivanka and her husband, Jared Kushner, also used to frequent the most exclusive events in Manhattan. However, Ivanka and her family might not be received so warmly in New York City following her father's controversial tenure as president. At least that's the opinion of Jill Kargman, a notable Manhattan socialite who's rubbed elbows with the Trumps in the past. Kargman spoke with CNN about Ivanka's social prospects in the city, saying, "The president was so awful and divisive about New York, saying it's a nightmare or that it's empty or a has-been. No one here is going to forget that. To even come back here after everything he said, it's not going to work."
President Trump begins the process of defunding New York City.
Perhaps that's why post-presidency, Donald Trump moved to the Sunshine State. On top of that, some anti-Trump billboards popped up in New York City in 2020, courtesy of the Lincoln Project. Some of them featured Ivanka and her husband smiling next to coronavirus stats. While some certainly agree that New York City will be a different place for Ivanka Trump after serving as her father's advisor, others have taken that a bit further. Namely, some of Ivanka's former friends and acquaintances have been vocal about how Ivanka's entire social life won't look remotely the same as it used to. An unnamed source told Vanity Fair, "They'll be welcomed back by people who know the Trumps are as close as they'll get to power, but everyone with self-respect, a career, morals, respect for democracy, or who doesn't want their friends to shame them both in private and public will steer clear." Another source shared that while there will still be various events that Ivanka and her family can attend, it's only because they themselves would be the amusement for guests. They told the publication, "And Ivanka is no Princess Margaret, and Jared is not the Duke of Windsor regaling guests with amusing bon mots to a captive audience. No one wants to hear about Sarah Huckabee's pies or Steve Bannon's shirts." From January of 2017 through January of 2021, Ivanka Trump called Washington, D.C. home. Of course, that was after a lifetime of being a resident of the Big Apple, but it still remains a very significant period of time in the eldest Trump daughter's life. That's when her father was the primary occupant of the White House, after all. However, after Donald Trump's administration came to an end, Ivanka no longer had a need to stay in the Capitol, so she and her family promptly moved out of their D.C. digs. And should Ivanka ever return to the area for one reason or another, she may find that she's received pretty differently than she's used to. As a senior member of the Republican Party told CNN, "They only know the DC of being in power. Wait until they realize no one is taking their calls." Given the frosty social climate Ivanka Trump may have to deal with in New York City, it's not surprising to learn that she joined her father in moving to South Florida after he lost the election. The Trumps do have a significant community of supporters in the Sunshine State, according to the South Florida Sun-Sentinel, and it certainly is warmer than Manhattan in the wintertime. As for where Ivanka will hang her hat, she'll be living the quintessential Florida condo lifestyle for at least a year, according to Mansion Global magazine. Specifically, she and her husband Jared Kushner signed a lease for a unit in the luxurious Arte residences, where a penthouse can fetch a price as high as $30 million. The seaside building was designed by architect Antonio Chiterio and is shaped like a pyramid. Talk about fancy. And, of course, one of the developers has worked with Donald Trump in the past. The condo, however, isn't where Ivanka and Jared will be staying permanently. The couple purchased a plot of land on Indian Creek Island in Miami-Dade County, Florida, for a cool $30 million, according to Page 6. The island, which has only about 30 homes, is popularly referred to as the Billionaire's Bunker, thanks to its 13-person police force, isolated geography, and other bells and whistles. As for the specifics of their purchase, it looks like Ivanka and Jared bought lot number 4 from music legend Julio Iglesias in December of 2020. The bayfront plot sprawls out at 1.84 acres and boasts 200 feet of prime waterfront with an annual tax bill of $472,764. While Ivanka and Jared's Miami Island home will presumably be their primary home, they'll still own their Park Avenue residence and their New Jersey cottage. While Ivanka Trump and her family will surely enjoy life on Indian Creek Island once their new residence is built, they might not receive the warmest welcome from their neighbors. Rumor has it that residents of the Billionaire's Bunker aren't happy about what went down in D.C. before the inauguration in 2021. To that end, the exclusive country club on Indian Creek Island is reportedly snubbing Ivanka and Jared. A source told Page 6, "You have to be nominated and make a formal application, but it only takes one member to object against any new member, and many members are objecting. expecting, particularly after the events at the Capitol on January 6th. Indeed, it seems that Ivanka and Jared can't exactly put their past behind them, especially given Ivanka's now deleted tweet calling rioters at the Capitol building patriots. The insider told the publication, "The Indian Creek Country Club members are very picky, and the word is that Javanka need not apply. Jared and Ivanka can lunch with their fellow patriots at Mar-a-Lago." Speaking of Mar-a-Lago, where Donald and Melania Trump live full-time with their son Barron Trump, Ivanka Trump's new digs are about an hour away in Miami. While she's not exactly next-door neighbors with her father, Ivanka can certainly drop by the Palm Beach County resort whenever she likes. After all, given how close Ivanka reportedly is to her father, surely she'll want to catch up with him on a lunch date once in a while, at least. However, according to CNN, there might be a little bit of tension amongst the Trumps in the wake of the insurrection at the Capitol on January 6, 2021. For one, a source revealed that Melania has been less than welcoming to her husband's eldest daughter at the Trumps' new residence of Mar-a-Lago. Additionally, there's reportedly been a bit of a blame game unfolding amongst the Trump siblings regarding the impact to Trump family business interests in the wake of the Capitol riots. Another source told CNN, "I think this is one time the family has to acknowledge that their actions have had consequences. It sounds like things have gotten complicated for sure." While Ivanka Trump worked closely with her father during his tenure as president as an advisor, that was far from the first time the pair of them joined forces. According to The Guardian, Ivanka was a boardroom judge on Donald Trump's reality TV series The Apprentice. Additionally, Ivanka had a role overseeing development and acquisitions at Donald Trump's real estate firm, the Trump Organization. Now that Ivanka is no longer working for her father in the White House, what will she do as a career? Well, there's the chance that she could return to the Trump Organization, but that might not be the best move for her if she's looking for job security. The reason? The Trump Organization fell under investigation by the New York State Attorney General's office. Allegedly, Donald Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, revealed to Congress that he'd lied about the value of Donald's assets to get better loans and policies.
The more that I wrote about it, the more I realized that I had lost my moral compass.
That prompted the probe into the Trump Organization, which specifically sought to determine if the value of the Seven Springs property in New York State was improperly inflated above its actual value. One thing that seems exceedingly likely is that we'll see Ivanka Trump on television now that she's no longer a denizen of Washington, D.C. That's familiar territory for the eldest Trump daughter, who's been on reality television in the past. A source told OK Magazine, "It was appearing on The Celebrity Apprentice next to their father, Donald Trump, that made Ivanka, Donald Jr., and Eric into primetime stars. For the kids to return to reality TV shouldn't be a surprise, and neither should be the fact that Ivanka is the family member that is getting the most offers, including interest from Dancing with the Stars." However, it's less likely that we'll see Ivanka waltzing home with the Mirror Ball trophy, and more probable that she'll put her business acumen to use on the small screen. The insider continued, "She isn't opposed to going back to reality shows, but the shows she's looking to create are much more similar to The Celebrity Apprentice and Shark Tank than Dancing with the Stars or The Real Housewives." Perhaps the biggest rumors circulating about Ivanka Trump now that she's no longer in the White House is that she may run for office herself. As Tram Wen, co-executive director of the New Virginia Majority, tells it, Ivanka is in a pretty prime position to organize a campaign. In an interview with InStyle, Wen said, "With Ivanka's massive name recognition and a political machinery behind her, theoretically she could run anywhere. She can circumvent many of the challenges faced by female candidates, such as fundraising and grip and grin campaigning." So what office would Ivanka likely run for? According to CNN, she might give Florida Senator Marco Rubio a run for his money, as he's up for re-election in 2022. And if she has her eye on the governor's mansion in Tallahassee, that's also a possibility, but not until she's lived in Florida for 7 years minimum. And of course, there's the possibility that Ivanka could even throw her hat into the 2024 presidential race. It's a job that her father had for 4 years, after all.
I want to tell you the story of a president who is fighting for you, from dawn to midnight.
Another possible option for Ivanka, now that she's left the White House, is a potential return to the world of fashion. The eldest Trump daughter has been involved in the industry before, though she shut down her eponymous fashion line back in 2018. Ivanka told the Wall Street Journal, "After 17 months in Washington, I do not know when or if I will ever return to the business, but I do know that my focus for the foreseeable future will be the work I'm doing here in Washington." But that was then, and this is now. And Ivanka is no longer constrained by her duties in Washington, D.C. So will Ivanka once again take to the design table to create a new brand of clothing, shoes, and other lifestyle products? It's a definite possibility. However, critics of her previous work for her own brand had a lot of problems with it. A write-up in Racked didn't mince words, describing her line as being, quote, "overpriced, poorly constructed, and unflattering on anyone who doesn't share Ivanka Trump's exact body type." Becoming a core part of the president's team in the White House most definitely changes people's lives, as it catapults you into the center of American politics and raises your profile enormously. That's certainly proven to be the case for Ivanka, who's become a household name around the world, thanks to her role in her father's administration. It's not surprising, then, to learn that Ivanka will continue to be protected by members of the Secret Service now that she's left the White House. Specifically, she will have their services for at least 6 months following Donald Trump's failed re-election campaign. Ivanka's spouse and siblings will also be under the watchful eye of the Secret Service until it's deemed that they're no longer needed. As for whether or not the Secret Service agents tasked with ensuring Ivanka's safety will be allowed to use the restroom in her home, that remains to be seen. As the Washington Post detailed in a January 2021 article, Ivanka and her husband were notoriously stingy about sharing their space with the people duty-bound to protect them in Washington, and it's possible that will remain an issue in the future, wherever they end up. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more list videos about your favorite celebrities are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.